class is back. I want to talk about something different. So last time I talked about the fear of failure. This time I want to talk about something I think is more of a problem for a lot of my college students, a lot of younger adults, right? And that's going to be being a perfectionist. So we talked about fear of failure, and ultimately it's the embarrassment of making a mistake, right? Now here's the other side of this coin. Most students I deal with right now, there's a big anxiety, there's a big push for making things perfect or being afraid to speak up or turn something in because there's this fear of judgment. Now, here's where I think that this comes from. A lot of what's going on with this new generation, definitely a big problem is social media, which we can all kind of agree on. Social media pushes out a big thing of comparison as well as validation, right? So most of this new generation, they were born with smartphones. I'm a little bit older. I'm pushing 40. So my age, I remember life before the internet. I remember life before we had this on our handheld devices. Now, people are dealing with seeing a highlight reel every time they look at their phone, right? So this is kind of programming them to compare themselves with other people. This happens a lot of the time. And then also the other thing is when you make an accomplishment or when you post something, you get instant hits of validation, right? So a lot of the time people don't want to actually live life. They want to live this, this perfect scenario in their head, right? Now, ultimately, from what I've seen with a lot of mental health and a lot of the stuff that I've looked at, a lot of learning I've done, this comes from a certain push. Being a perfectionist and the anxiety basically is coming down to one thing, which is you want to be in control, right? Anytime we've ever experienced any type of trauma and it builds up our anxiety, it's just situations where we didn't feel safe, right? As humans, we want comfort. We want to feel safe. So we always want control. Now, this can hinder us, right? If we're being too much of a perfectionist, we're not actually living life because we're trying to control things. So how do we stop this process? Try to let go of control and limit your social media. That's the best advice that I have. One thing I would implement this year.